Smart movers, I'm Siam Pasarly. Behind these books, these all books, there is only one person. He has been a business owner, consultant, and a university professor for over 30 years. In 2009, President Bush asked him to serve on his business advisory council. He served in that position till 2009. Well, if he was good enough to advise the President of the United States of America, he sure is good enough to advise us. It is my pleasure, honor, to present you Dr. Kalaras. Most welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Siam. I appreciate the nice comments.
Thank you very much. Doctor, what should I call you? Dr. Kalaras, Professor, or Mr. John? Which one is good?
John is fine.
John is good?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I was reading your documents. Today is your birthday, huh?
Yes, it is.
It is February 18.
Yes, it is.
So, congratulations, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is important to mention that we have audience here. We have Robert Farrell, my business partner, is here, and many other guests we have. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, we have a question from the floor, and the gentleman there asked, I am an electrical engineer, and I do have my resume on LinkedIn. However, whenever companies are looking for engineer, first of all, that's a very broad field. And question, do I have to modify my resume every time I apply for a job? Am I correct? Did I understand your question correctly? Good. Now, on LinkedIn, you should have the basic skills of your credentials. In other words, graduate of such school with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, specializing in double ET, if you know what I mean, right? Electrical, electronic engineering, and so on. Courses that I liked, ABC, nothing much, and then companies I've worked for, in short, ABC, whatever companies you worked for. So now, when somebody checks your LinkedIn profile, they see your basic information. Now, you have a company that wants somebody to do debugging or some specific skill on electronics. Now, you design that resume to fit those needs. So, the LinkedIn profile should be generic and basic, with a basic and important information, and then the specific resume that you send should not contradict what you have on the LinkedIn profile. Yeah. Okay? But it should be more analytical and suitable to that position. Yeah, okay. Make sense?
Yeah, good. And he should tailor the resume specific to the position.
Yes, yes.
We had another question about dressing, how to dress for the interview.
Ah, you missed that.
Yeah.
The reply goes, the question goes, how to dress for an interview. And I replied as follows. That will depend on the type of position you are seeking. And since we have the accountants here and myself as a professor and you as an executive, if you're going for an accountant's position, a professorial position, an executive position, dressing up the way you and I are today is appropriate. However, if you are looking for a bricklayer's job, you better not go in a suit like that, okay? Plain clothing will suffice. The only thing that I want you to remember is that your clothing should be nicely pressed and clean. The two gentlemen that we have in the back, that the one that asked the question, the two questions right now, if you don't mind standing up for a moment so everybody can see you, they're fine, they're perfectly fine, and their dressing is okay for not a C-level position, if you know what I mean by that. Okay, thank you.
What about the color?
Try to avoid colors like purple, fluorescent greenish, yellowish, strong colors should not. Try to have neutral colors.
Let me see that. So what about my color?
You're fine.
Yeah, am I fine?
You're perfect.
So what about the tie? If someone want to have the tie, and what should be the size and what?
No, your tie is fine. By the way, in the last job fair that these folks organized here, which I attended, they had something like 25, 30 ties, giving them free to people. So I bet that they can give you some if you need them.
Yeah, if they need,
I don't mean to speak for you, but I know you have so many.
Of course, we do have. And Robert always love to collect and buy the
Just
ties.
try to be color coordinated. Okay, somewhat.
Okay. You also before mentioned when you first come, the way you sit for the interview. I want to say, what is the best way to sit?
Sure. Let's role play this for a moment. Let me show you, okay?
Yes.
Let's say that I walked in.
Yes.
And let me walk into your office. I knocked on the door and you said, yes, come in.
Yes, please.
Okay. Obviously, I should be walking professionally, appear professional. 1 second. Have my business card ready. And I should go in, hi, my name is John Kalaras. I'm here for the interview of the accounting position.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Please have a seat.
Okay, see, please have a seat. Do not sit down until you're told to do so. Remember that, okay? And then when you sit down, you don't sit down like this. Okay, talk to me.
And then, I will sit like this with you.
Or you're like that, like you own the place. It's not proper. Now, by the same token, you don't go, if he's interviewing me from right there, you don't go like this. Now I'm invading his space. You don't cross hands like that. Obviously, you're going to have your resume, your folder with you, your professional portfolio, so you have it in front of you, and keep your hands nicely right in front of you, and possibly with a pen to take notes. Okay? So you may want to be overly professional by saying, may I take notes for the interview? They're not going to say no. Okay? So now you pull out your pen, and you got your notebook here, and you're ready, and you just sit like this.
Okay, the way you said.
Yeah, the way
What about if I just cross my, it's okay?
Possibly. If you're a woman and you're wearing a short skirt, don't.
Okay.
You know what I mean.
So then, this is good.
Yes,
this is okay, good. Thank you very much. You also talked about portfolio.
Yes.
How important is that?
First of all, let's explain to the folks, because some of them may not know, what is a portfolio. Folks, a portfolio is a compilation, a synopsis, an accumulation of your past and current accomplishments and things that you are proud of. So you bring the portfolio with you, so at the appropriate time, you turn it over and you share that with the interviewer. How important is it? I'll show you this example. Let's say that you want to renovate your kitchen, and you need a new countertop, new file cabinets, and new appliances. You call the first carpenter and you say, can you do that? Remember, what do we say? Countertop, cabinets, appliances, okay? Yes. How long would it take you? About 3 days. How much would it cost? $10,000. Then you call the second carpenter. They give you the same scenario. How much would it cost? $10,000. How long? 2-3 days. Okay. And then you call the third person who says, oh, I'm glad that you asked for that, because basically here is what I did with, it's not for company, here's what I did with this company. This is the before and after, if you can see. We changed the file cabinets, the countertop, and everything else. And actually, I have another company, another home that we did. And recently, last month, I did this one. Okay, now you see the work that they've done. How long would it take you? 2 days, 3 maybe, at the most. How much would it cost? $10,000. I'm asking you now, who are you going to hire? The first, the second, or the third?
Third.
Why?
Because you have the documents.
You have proof
Yeah.
of what a person does. The same with your career portfolio. When they invite me, let's say a company wants me to go and do consulting for them, which happens all the time, I take this portfolio with me.
So this is your portfolio.
This is my portfolio.
I would like to, if you can explain it
Sure.
quickly and shortly.
Here I have a picture at the time that I addressed the US Senate. And the picture shows that. Okay? Down here, you can see it a little closer later. Down here it shows United States Senate. Okay? In other words, the idea here is that not very many people have an opportunity to address the Senate. Next, I have a list of my books. Okay? Here, you heard in Siam's introduction that I was asked to serve under President Bush, no political affiliation, by the way, as an advisor, and it shows right here, Business Advisory Council, seal, the White House, and everything else. Next, I have a letter from the president when I was appointed. When the university that I'm a graduate of, an alumnus, Roosevelt University, it shows down here, found out about my appointment, and I'll stop after this, they wrote this article. Can you read up there what it says? Can you see? President
George,
louder.
George Bush. I can say it.
President George Bush selects alumnus for his advisory council. And that's what the university wrote. I did not write that. And of course, I continue. I have more certificates, accomplishments, and a few other things. So now, whatever I said during the interview, it is proven right here. It is very convincing that I am who I said I am. You follow me? And a portfolio, in essence, solidifies your presentation, makes the difference between everybody else and you, like the three carpenters that I mentioned earlier.
So when we have portfolio, what type of documents are important to have in this portfolio? And second, do we have enough time in the interview to present this?
Excellent question. There are 20 elements that I have identified as items to be in a portfolio, but you don't have to have all 20. If you have 5, 6 of them, will be fine. Okay. Now, do we have time to do that? That will depend. You bring the portfolio with you as a backup evidence of what you are saying. And if you have an opportunity, then you open the portfolio and you say, I'm glad that you asked. Let's say you asked me, do you know Excel? Well, I'm glad you asked because here's a certificate on advanced Excel. You follow me? I don't just say, yes, I know Excel. Yes, I know Excel, but here's a certificate that I received after I went through the Excel training.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Doctor. So I have two other last questions, then we can give chance to the floor. You also mentioned...
Excuse me, let's give them a list later on.
Okay.
Okay, I'll send you the list of the 20 items that I have for the portfolio. You have their addresses.
Sure.
And
We will send to
my
you.
people already have this because I have some people
Okay.
here myself. But for everybody else, you folks can obtain the list from Siam.
Sure.
So you know what should go there.
You mentioned personal branding.
Yes.
What is personal branding and why it is important?
Sure. Before that, may I say one more thing about
Yes, please.
the portfolio? Folks, if you're hired for a middle-level position, say, Aisha, you know accounting, we're going to hire you as an accountant, but we have another 5, 7, 10 people in that department, and we want you to be their supervisor. We want you to manage that department. What is your management style? Is that a possible question? What is your management style? How do you handle people? Okay. At that time, you may very well say, again, the portfolio comes very handy, and that is one of the 20 items. I'm glad that you asked the question. because I've taken the time and I defined my management style. So now, let's say that Siam is asking the question, ask me the question, what's your management style?
Yeah, what is your management style?
I'm glad that you asked the question because I've taken the time and I have defined my management style, and as you can tell, I am
A result-driven, quality-oriented professional.
and I have it in big enough letters. The font is about 28 or 30, so even he can see it from across the table. Basically, what you're doing, folks, by preparing something like this is indirectly you're telling the interviewer that I anticipated the question and I have a solution for you.
Correct.
It's one thing to say I'm a solutions-oriented person, I solve problems, and it's another to show
Yes.
that you have it. As a matter of fact, and closing this before we get to the personal branding, interviewers are so impressed when they see somebody having a portfolio many times, and let me open a parenthesis here. I've done this, folks, for over 30 years with literally thousands of clients, both in this country and in 12 other countries.
Wow.
And that's why I've written these books, as you saw earlier, on career planning, which is what the university is teaching right now. So people say, I know what I'm talking about, okay? So I have thousands of testimonies and experiences about portfolios. So when you ask questions and I show the portfolio, which basically, as I said earlier, solidifies my presentation, people are so impressed. Usually, or in many times, they say, John, can I keep this until next week? You're coming back for a second interview with the hiring authority. And that is the time where you really astonish the interviewer by saying, I'll be delighted to, but as you noticed, this certificate is the original one. And I'd like to make sure that it's in my possession. However, I have everything about the portfolio in this USB.
Wow, this is...
So now you can share this with your colleagues, or everything about my portfolio is on my website, if you don't want to do this. But this is one of the most impressive, because you may not want to have everything about your portfolio. I don't want people to see that I have this certificate from the president. I don't know how they're going to take it. They might say, oh, he's a Republican, or he's whatever. I don't want people to label me in any way, form, or fashion.
Yes.
But the company that I want to work for or do consulting for, I don't mind them having the information. So again, I'm proving that I anticipated the question and I have the solution. So here it is. Okay? Just remember those things about the portfolio, vitally important. It's immense, solidifies your presentation.
Before going
Branding,
to the
yeah, go ahead.
branding,
No,
do you
go
have any question about portfolio, something if...
Anything, anybody.
Okay. Yes, personal branding. What do you mean by personal branding and why it's important?
Remember, on the tools, I put it right on top. And you folks will have a copy of this, as I said earlier. Okay? Personal branding, folks, is nothing else but a well-taken picture of yourself during the interview. Because remember the following, the interviewer just met you. All the interviewer has about you is a resume. They read a few things about you, and now they say, okay, fine, let's see what this person can do. They invite you, you're in an interview. But this is the time now, your opportunity to shine and paint the best picture possible. Because if you don't paint your picture, you know yourself. The interviewer does not know me. The interviewer just met me 2, 3, 5 minutes ago. He or she cannot have an accurate picture of who I am, what I can do, what I can bring to their company, but I know that. So it is my opportunity now to paint, quote unquote paint, the best picture possible by branding myself. And in branding, you describe yourself, your skills, your accomplishments, who you really are in a short way, but concise. I don't want you to go blah, 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 blah for a day and talk about yourself, nor I want you to say, I'm good at accounting. That's not enough. Okay? And we'll talk more about the branding. So critically important, that's why I have it right on top.
To brand myself here as a little bit different because this is US. See, and I have background from Afghanistan, work experience over there.
Good.
So how can I brand myself to sell myself here effectively and efficiently?
Yeah. Excellent question. Regardless of where the experience comes from, it is still experience. You are an electrical engineer?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, whether you did work in Afghanistan or in the States, it doesn't matter. You can easily say to the interviewer, first of all, you don't have to mention the company, even though they can see it and they'll find out later on, and you should be proud of your country and your background, okay? When I worked with this company, you can even mention in Afghanistan, don't have to. What I did was the following. I was given this project, I did the following, and the result was this. It doesn't matter if you did it there or here. You are still describing your qualities and your expertise. Qualities and expertise that you developed there. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, one thing, and
Sure.
that it might be a little bit technical, engineering relevant, and that is, you see here in the US, we have standard and codes for everything like this. For example, I am supposed to install one receptacle, how
Outlet.
from the ground floor. So these things matters. For example, in Afghanistan, we don't have a specific standard and code, so they make an excuse that you are not familiar with this kind of standard code. So this is how can I convince the recruiting company or someone who is taking my interview so that they are convinced.
Sure.
That
Just tell them and make it crystal clear that you're aware of the differences. Actually, that is a plus because you have lived and worked in two different environments. People who have lived in different environments are culturally rich. So, you may say, in my country, we didn't have the codes and the regulations and the specifications that we have here in the States. However, here, I follow the specifications and the code that the US requires, and I'm very much abreast with. In other words, I know how to install plugs, wires, and everything else here in the States, which shows that you took the time to study the American way and you know of the differences. Are you following?
Yes.
This is a plus. The fact that you are from another country, even though, with all due respect, unfortunately enough, because of the Taliban issue, and he has written a book on the Talibans, they're up there as well, okay? Many or some Americans don't feel very comfortable with it, but be proud of who you are. Be proud of yourselves and your profession and your families.
Thank you very much. And if you remember at the beginning, Professor said that you need to have some certifications. When you're new here and you see the requirements are different, what are the requirements that you need to have that job? Is to have some certifications. So try to get those certifications. If you are a nurse, you were a nurse back at your home, but now here you need certification to be a nurse. Like this, I recommend to get those certifications. I saw you take out the money. What do you do with that?
Well, I just mentioned how proud you should be of your heritage and your culture.
Yes.
And your values. And I have a little scenario that I want to play with you folks to remember for the rest of your life. What is this? How much? $5. Now, by raising your hand, first of all, somebody will get this $5 out of this crowd right now. Now Robert, back there. Everybody else but Robert, okay?
Robert has more.
No
money.
strings attached. But I have a question for you. How many of you want this $5 bill to go get a cup of coffee or a sandwich? Raise your hands. Do you want this $5? You watch how many
Yeah.
And who are the first ones who raise their hands?
Okay, that's good, good.
Let's start it again.
Okay,
Do you want this dollar? $5 bill?
کی میخوای $5 رو بگیره؟ سو خواهیش دا $5 واخلی. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
6. And now.
If you make it 100, everybody wants. I'm just joking.
Okay. How many of you want this $5 now?
Again, they want, yeah.
Okay. And how many of you want this $5 bill now that I stepped on it? And I'll give you a clean one, by the way. Okay. And it's. How many of you want it now?
Still, they want it.
The lesson for these folks is, regardless of what I did to this $5 bill, it never lost its value. True?
Yes.
Yes.
It was always $5.
Yes.
Yes, guys, please.
Regardless of what happens to you, whether you're back in your country, here, whatsoever, the values that you have are indeed your values. Don't let that down you. Don't let that impose on you. And who was the one who raised his hand? I think this guy right here.
Oh, there are 4 people.
But he raised his hand.
Okay,
Most
okay,
of the time I
good,
said,
good.
somebody will get this $5 bill, have a cup of coffee on me. Okay?
That is good, that is good.
But I want you to remember, just like this $5 bill never lost its value, you do not lose the values that you have. You have family values, you have cultural values, ethnic values, language values, and you should be proud of it.
Thank you very much, Doctor. So,
yes, what
please,
else?
so that, this part I want to close like this, the interview. So, suppose we are ending our interview for the position, the accounting position. And I say that if we hire you for this position, what are those 3 steps that you should do? And if I ask this question at the end of the interview, psychologically, what do you get from this question?
Well, this question basically tells me that I'm almost there. I got the interview, I got the position, okay? I just don't need to mess it up from this point on. Okay?
Oh, how did you know that?
Because you said if we hire you, that's a hint, that's an indication that you are doing well, you did well in the interview. Actually, on that tone, Siam, the interviewer folks at some point might say, let's say, Dimitra, since we're picking on you 2 ladies today, do you have any questions for me? I don't want you to say, no, I don't, you're doing fine. No, you should have several questions memorized and ask a question or 2. One question may be, why is this position open? Oh, it is because the person is retiring after 30 years. Or, for some reason we can't keep anybody. They come in, they work for 2 or 3 months, and then they go. Do you really want to work for that company? Or in the first scenario, we had somebody, and after 30 years, he or she retired. Now you have some big shoes to fill in. Are you following the idea?
Yes.
Another question may be, what has to happen for you to know that you have hired the best person? The best qualifying person for the position. Oh, this person should know balance sheets, income statements, and consolidations. Now emphasize the rest of, or stress the rest of the interview on those 3 topics, because that's what they need. Are you following? You're the interviewer, and I'm the candidate, the job seeker, okay? And at some point you ask me, John, do you have any questions for me? Obviously, I already stated 1 or 2 questions before, but here, folks, is the most important one. What are the key 2 or 3 challenges that I may be faced in this position? I'll repeat the question, and please try to understand and remember the entire phrase. You will see it when you receive this document from Siam, okay? What are the key 2 or 3 challenges that I'll be faced in this position? If the interviewer said the person we'll hire will be faced with A, B, and C, you are not in yet. But if the interviewer said you will be faced with A, B, and C. They like you. He or she already made up his mind and they want you. So that question is critical. And the way you ask it, by placing I, what are the 2 or 3 challenges that I will be faced in this position? Are you following?
Yes.
The person will hire, or you will be faced. You'll have 27 of them. In my books, by the way, I have a total of, all in all, 600 questions between the interviewer and interviewee, advanced level, high school level, college level, entry level, and so on. 600 questions that you can, with answers, by the way. When you go to, and I'm not just saying this in any way, when you go to the questions, you'll see the interviewer and then Mark. The interviewer and Mark. And you don't just see a plain question. I justify why the interviewer is asking the question and how Mark, the candidate, should be replying. So I'm not role-playing all 600 questions, but about 100 of them, the most common ones, are role-played. So the reader of this book can easily see the significance of these questions and how to answer it, and mainly why they're asking the question. Okay, that's what it's shown here.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Sure.
Kalaras. I have this picture here,
Yes.
and you work with one of them. If I ask who is your favorite president, and why?
Well, I'll be biased because I worked for one, and it won't be fair for me to say, because if I say, for instance, Bush, will say, yeah, you work for him, so you were buddies. And in essence, yeah. He used to come to the meetings and say, hey, Greg, how are you doing today? I mean, that's, okay, he's down to earth and so on. Obama and I, if you see the portfolio here, we addressed a national leadership conference here in Chicago a few years back. So allow me not to select one because I'll be biased, and it's not fair.
So you're not selecting
Nope.
one of them? If I give you to choose 2 of them, if I give you 2 options, not 1 option,
I'll go in a diagonal scenario. Pick the diagonal you want. Do you know what diagonal means?
yes.
Okay, pick the diagonal.
Well, it is
My
difficult.
selection is diagonal.
The reason that please, yes, the reason I bring this is that first you work with the president, and second, I would love to know during which president time job market was good, especially these 4 people.
Well, I'm an old man. Today, you know, I turned 76, and I don't remember. However, Google can easily tell you if you seriously, folks. employment rates for the last 20 years. You'll have it right there. You'll have the answer right there.
So, guys, I intentionally brought this one. Like during the interview, you faced some things. This was not in agenda, but did you see how he answered? Diplomacy in answering the questions are the most important. Did you see that he gave me tough time? He didn't answer my question at the end. Till the end, I didn't get what is his answer.
Speaking on that subject, folks, when you are in an interview, look around. As soon as you sit down, take a look. I mean, not investigate the office, okay, but around, look around, and you're going to see certain things. For instance, I was invited a year ago to go to a company. I took this with me for consulting. Actually, they're still my clients now. And when I walked in there, I saw pictures of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Anybody knows who they are? Some of you know. Can you tell us who they are?
Michael Jordan was a player. What was the second?
Basketball player. And Scottie Pippen was along the Chicago Bulls. Okay? Now, obviously, for a person to have these pictures behind him, he liked basketball. Okay? How did I use that? When it came down to, yes, we'll retain you, my price, folks, is not cheap. It's high. And when I gave them my price, they said, "Whoa, wow. Well, I don't know. Do we really need a coach like you?" Because I was going in as a coach. And I said, "Well, it's totally up to you. But I did this, folks. Can I take a scratch paper? Do you have a scratch paper there?"
You can use this, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We had a contract there, and I took the contract, and I said, "If my price is too high, don't worry about it. Here, actually," and I took the actual contract, and I went like, "Oh, no, we still want you." No, I said, "No problem. I'll still do the job. But here, no contract. I'll do the job, and at the end, you know what my price is. If the people are benefited from it, you pay me. If not, let them evaluate me, and if they evaluate me 80%, you give me 80% of what the contract says. If they evaluate me 50%, give me 50%. Needless to say that everybody said 100+. Okay. Second way to use the memorabilia. Another question that arose was, well, do we really need a coach? Do we really need somebody to coach us? And that was my golden opportunity, folks, to say, well, I'm glad that you're a Bulls fan, and I see that you have my friend there, Michael Jordan. He was the best, wasn't he? Oh, now they start talking about Michael Jordan, who was the best. Are you following? Do you see what I'm talking about? However, didn't he have a coach? If the best of the best had a coach, don't you think that you need one?
Yeah.
Case closed. You following? So take a look at what goes on around. Okay. They may have a picture with a woman, let's say the interviewer is a man, a woman, and children. Now you know that you have a family person. Stress, family values, and so on. So observe what goes on.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Kalaras, for your time. It was such a nice interview, useful, informative. And thank you very much, guys, for participating. Thank you very much. Have a good time.
Now,
after this, you will have a networking session. You can take pictures with Dr. Kalaras, and we can meet him.
Let's deliver what I promised. Let's give everybody a copy of this.
We'll give them.